Like a moth to a flame, I have been summoned to the most recent internet debate. Like the Jedi Master I am, I had to come down from the high tower on Coruscant to bestow the people my 2 cents, my opinions, my Jedi thoughts. And today's topic is a hypothetical. And funny enough, I just happen to love hypotheticals. Before I get into any of this, I have to say that yes, I love hypotheticals. I've always loved hypotheticals, especially hypothetical battle situations like this. I'm not exactly sure. I'm just saying hypothetical. I'm just using that term liberally, but it's a hypothetical battle, I guess you'd say. When I was a kid, I used to watch this TV channel called Spike TV. And if you don't know what Spike TV is, or you weren't around then, or don't even know what cable television is, it basically was the man's network. It was a network for men. It just aired a bunch of knuckle dragging, testosterone, masculine marketed shows. And one of the shows that used to air on there was a show called The Deadliest Warrior, which used to be one of my favorite shows of all time. Essentially, what would happen is you would take a group of experts, ex military, doctors, surgeons, uh, historical experts, I guess, historians, and they would pick two people or figures from history and pit them against each other. Two unlikely figures from history and pit them against each other. Like, for example, uh, a Spartan versus a ninja. They definitely have never seen each other in history, but now on this show, we're bringing them together. We're going to test their weapons and techniques, and we're going to pit them against each other. And boy, howdy, we're going to see who's the deadliest warrior. And honestly, for a bit, it was a pretty cool show. It was sick. You're like, yeah, I guess a Spartan might kill a ninja. I don't know, like a samurai versus a pirate. Like, that's kind of interesting, actually. Like, hold on a minute. Like, that's crazy. Eventually, they ran out of like warriors to use, and they had to start like using like real historical figures, which were kind of like already the warrior they did before like a previous season. And then they started doing really crazy stuff like zombies versus uh vampires, which I think was actually the season that was the series finale. I think. I don't think they got another season after that, which it just got really silly. Point being, I used to watch a hypothetical battle show on TV pretty religiously. I used to be excited for that show to come out. I really look forward to that. Now, as I got a little bit older, I started to deep dive into the wonderful world of YouTube content. I was there. Do not cite the dark magic to me, witch, for I was there when it was written. I watched early PewDiePie, Markiplier, Achievement Hunter, Rooster Teeth, Funhouse. And one of the things I used to watch a lot of was something called Death Battle from Screw Attack, which I think then became part of Rooster Teeth. I think so. Anyway, point being, I used to watch this show called Death Battle, which is actually very similar to Deadliest Warrior, except instead of a show airing on cable network, it was these two guys doing like their best, like a game show narration kind of thing going on. And they would pit two characters from fiction, from like comic books, Marvel movies, superheroes, Star Wars, anime, video games, pretty much just two characters from fiction, and they would pit them together, test their stuff somehow by talking about it, and see who was the deadliest war, who was going to win the death battle, who kills who. And it was pretty good for a while, especially those animations, which now have aged pretty horribly. But at the time, we're like, wow, those animations look really good. If you know, you know. Why am I yapping about all this before I get into the main conversation? Because I need to tell you how much I love these hypothetical debates. I love it. As a knuckle dragging man myself, me love battle. Me love war. Ooh, yes. Oh, yes. Obi-Wan is better than Naruto. Yeah, he kill him. Yes. Why would Obi-Wan even be in that world? I don't know, but hey, it works. It's fun. I feel like I had to share that before I talk about today's topic because I feel like I have a take that might get a few people talking in that comment section, which, by the way, definitely leave a comment. I want to know what your thoughts are. This is the whole point of the hypotheticals. Comment. I want to know what you guys think. The debate this time is, you may have heard about it, is one gorilla versus 100 men. One gorilla, 100 men. From my deep diving internet research, it seems this trend started somewhere on TikTok and then picked up steam on Reddit, which that checks out. TikTok, if the algorithm picks up something, it's probably going to get millions of views or 100,000 views, people sharing it, talking about it, and creating other TikToks about it. And then, of course, going to the well versed and never toxic forums of Reddit. So that this checks out. That makes sense. But what do I think? What do I think of 100 men versus one gorilla? It's 100 men every day of the week. 100 bros every day of the week. Not to say that 100 men don't struggle, There's problems. There's going to be casualties. We're going to need a few boxes to put some people in at the end of the day. Maybe some bags. Gorillas are strong. They can crush some heads, maybe. All right, like what's left of people might be soup. Could be soup people left. You know what I'm saying? It'd be squanched. So might not even fit in a box. My main point above anything, before you talk about the strength of the man, before the strength of the gorilla, his jaws, his sharp teeth, which they're herbivores, I'm pretty sure. Gorillas, aren't they? Or are they omnivore? I'm pretty sure they're herbivores, but they have really sharp teeth. And they have a very strong bite, too, which definitely could do some damage to the homies. I think there's just too many humans. There's too many men. 100, I feel like $100, not a lot of money. 100 bros trying to get you? Uh-oh. That's a lot. I don't think a gorilla would know what to do in that situation. I think it would immediately go into fight or flight, and I think it would lose all its strategic ability, which obviously the people are going to have, the men are going to have more of anyway. One, because there's more of us. Two, because we're smarter, and it's just not going to be good. Again, it's going to be messy. You put a gorilla in a fight or flight situation like that where 100 people are surrounding it trying to end it, it's going to be bad. It's not going to be pretty. You cannot air this on PBS. It's not going on the Disney Channel. Okay. This is pay-per-view stuff. This is going on OnlyFans. And I've seen some people talk about the different parameters too. Like, what if it wasn't 100 able-bodied men? What if it was 100 random people? Yeah, then maybe, but I think you're adding too many variables to it. I think when you talk about something like this, I think you have to eliminate as many variables as possible. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you can't eliminate all the variables. Like with the ninja versus the Spartan, for instance, in Deadliest Warrior, a lot of people are arguing the ninja just wouldn't attack the Spartan head on. A ninja would just not attack the Spartan head on. The ninja would sneak up, assassin style, Ezio Auditore, fucking, use ninja stars, the black egg, which were really a crazy weapon, by the way. Have you ever seen the black egg, the dark egg? That's messed up, dude. That's just crazy, especially back then. Oh. But then people were also arguing that the Spartan would never fight alone. Spartans on their own are actually not the greatest warriors of all time. It's when they fought together as a unit. In the Hoplite, what do they call it? The real historians are gonna. I'm an armchair historian, so when the Greek battle arraignments, what are they called? Is it a Hoplite or is that the same? I don't know. Phalanx. We're gonna go with phalanx. We're gonna go with that. That sounds about right to me. Anyway, point being, you have to boil down the variables. And with the Spartan, it wouldn't fight alone. The ninja, he probably wouldn't attack head on. The men versus the gorilla, what's the gorilla gonna do? The gorilla's got his teeth. He's got this. Are we fighting in the jungle? Are we fighting? I saw some discussion and had some discussion with my own friends about, well, it's actually just flat land, Coliseum style, flat land, 100 bros, one gorilla. And I think that's it's still in the human's favor. It's just I'd argue that having a flat terrain Coliseum style is always going to be in our advantage, especially if there's a crowd of screaming people too, like Coliseum style. So something that wasn't brought up that I like to bring up whenever it's a human versus beast or a human versus something, in that sort of conversation, we would never go into battle or something without some sort of tool. And I know that was the whole point, saying no tools, barefisted versus the gorillas. I understand that. But that's why I think they said, okay, well, no tools, 100 people to sort of balance it out. But I think the scale's not balanced. I think a more fair battle would be one gorilla versus 10 men with like stone tools or something like that. That is a more fair battle to me, because now our numbers are much more reduced, a much more manageable number for the gorilla to deal with, a large silverback gorilla to deal with. I think the real conversation has to be reducing the amount of people and evening the scale. I think the whole idea of having 100 people was the idea of putting the scales in order. But I think whoever started this, the genesis of this debate, has tipped the scales in the wrong direction. Gorilla very strong, so you have to find a way to match that evenly. And they think, okay, well, 100 guys. What's the other argument? People are saying, well, no, gorilla still beats 100 guys. No one's really talked about this before, but I think whenever it's Homo sapiens or humans versus beast versus nature, I think we should have some sort of tools with us. Not machine guns and swords and katanas and that kind of stuff. I mean more like primordial, like day one Homo sapiens, stone tools, maybe an obsidian knife or something like that. Like something like very basic stuff. Nothing, because obviously anything above Stone Age technology, we're going to smoke them. Even 100 men, one guy with one sword wins. Like it's just not fair. But I think with stone tools, day one tools, Minecraft wooden tool, you know what I mean? Day one stuff, I think there's an argument. And I think if you give people the stone tools, which we would never not have tools, we would use tools. I think you can reduce the number greatly, say down to 10 maybe. 10 able-bodied men with stone tools versus one gorilla. I think that's a much more fair balance in the scale because that's what it needs. It needs to be balanced. It can't be two gorillas. Can't be a super gorilla. It has to be balanced. I think that's at least in my opinion, the best way to balance. Let me know what you think. I don't know, but I get where they were going. I understand why they're saying no. If it's 100 men, no, like 100 men barefisted. I totally understand it, but I think 100 is just too many. I think 100 men beats a lot of things. Anything bigger than a gorilla, then maybe it's an argument. You know, like me and my friends were talking about 100 men versus a bear. I still think humans win, but there would be a lot more casualties. And then anything bigger than a bear, then I think then we're cooked because I don't think we have any way to pierce that armor. Like anything like an elephant or a rhino or a hippo or something like that. Like the armor is just too thick. Like we're going to roundhouse kick it in the side. Maybe bust a kidney if we're lucky. It's thick. It's got thick fat ability. It's got whale lord ability. It's not gonna happen. We need some sort of tool, and that I think that's important. I think we would always have tools. Anyway, that's me yapping about it today. Let me know what you think down in the comments section. I'm gonna have more videos for you guys, always posting, and I'm streaming 4 days a week now, starting Wednesday. So come in and say hi here on Twitch and YouTube. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.